to another episode of the Encores Club. Today we're talking about some up-and-coming artist, Laura Dre and Soda Blonde. As always, very excited to be sharing the stage here with Rhonda from Daily Duranie. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm very excited because this is one of those episodes where someone actually recommended the album to us, someone we know online. So very excited to dive into that. But first up, I am super excited to be talking about Laura Dre's new album, Moving Spaces. Extraordinary songwriter. This album's out on Outlands Records. Came out in July and really hasn't left my CD player since. Super excited. She's already very well known in LGBTQ circles. She's played a lot of festivals and stuff, but it is time for her to get a much larger audience. I think what she's doing is absolutely fantastic. So here's a little taste of Laura Dre's new album, Moving Spaces. So that was a little taste of Laura Dre's new album, Moving Spaces. Like I said, I think it's contemporary synth pop at its finest. For frame of reference, if you like Garbage and Shirley Manson, imagine Shirley Manson fronting a band like Depeche Mode in some of their darker times. Absolutely incredible. She also does a wicked cover of Strangelove if you look online, so there is a Depeche Mode connection there for sure. I'm a big fan of it. Rhonda, what do you think?
I'm a big fan.
Oh,
And I'm surprised by that, actually. I really like her. You know, uh, there's a lot that I can say. Synth pop is like the word that I wrote all over my paper. Synth pop, synth pop. Um, I just love the fact that she's brand new, and so I feel like okay, I can sit back and really watch her career develop. Um, I also really like the fact that she's not a soprano singer, and she doesn't try to be.
She's a
I love
contralto.
her voice. It's the little things. It reminds me, it's very retro wave. I can hear why she would sing, or cover Depeche Mode for sure. Um, I loved Moving Spaces. Ice Maiden was one of my favorite songs on the album, All Day, All Night. I mean, there was not a song on this album that I wanted to skip. So I'm excited by that. I really think too, if you like Pet Shop Boys, you're gonna love her.
Oh yeah,
What
definitely.
did you think?
I agree. And actually, in my notes, I put, the fact that she's a contralto and not a soprano. And you're the professional classical musician, so you know a lot more about that kind of stuff than I did. But just speaking as a fan who's listening, it gave it a heavier aesthetic to me. It didn't kind of soar off into the never, never reaches. It felt very grounded. And that works with her lyrics. Loving You is a beautiful song come back to a lot. And what I like about it is, her lyrics, whereas Brandon can be very flowery. Hey, Brandon Flowers, when we talked about the Killers, but she has no time for bullshit in her lyrics. I mean, she just gets to, you're probably no good for me. You make me fucking happy. You make me feel alive. Boom, that's it. She gets to the point. She's very direct. And, I like that about her as an artist. She's writing what she feels and she's not trying to dress it up in any, metaphors or anything. She just gets to it. So, for fans of 80s music, you mentioned Pet Shop Boys, I mentioned Depeche Mode. There's a song called I Open My Eyes, which when you listen to the open, it reminds me so much of Kaja Gugu's Too Shy. And
Oh,
it kind of has a funky swing to it. I'm like, oh, I've heard this. And it's just, but no matter how many people we compare it to, I think she's a very unique artist and she's not being derivative of any of these. It's just,
oh no.
it's that palette of sound and style that she's definitely pulling from. But, I think Laura Dre is Laura Dre. So, for me, that works.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely one of the better finds I've had this year. Really, I like it. And you know what else I like is that I can put her music on and do something else and enjoy the music in the background without feeling like anxiety. Because I suffer from that, and I also tend to be like, if I can't focus, forget it. And it's really nice music to just listen to. And so I really liked it. She's on a playlist now, and she
Awesome.
won't leave. So it was
And
great.
credit to Outlands Recordings. I know in the past we've recorded talked about albums from Frontiers, and I always don't love their packaging or their artwork, but in this case, the CD package I ordered, absolutely incredible. There's a hint of Japanese city pop in her music, and sure enough, the artwork on the album reflected that, and even came with a classic Obi strip, which, if you were an import collector of music in the 80s, you remember how cool it was when you got those Japanese Obi strips. So to have that on a CD, it just made me like it that much more. So, if you're still into physical product and buying music, check out her website or go to Ellen's Recordings. It's definitely one that's worth picking up. So we're going to move on. We're going to kind of stay in the same genre, up and coming artist with our next one, and that is Soda Blonde. Tell us a little about that.
Well, Soda Blonde was formed in 2019 out of the breakup of another band from Dublin called the Little Green Cars. I'd never heard of them.
Oh,
Um, they're kind of an alt pop group, and they're just out of Dublin with their just released debut album called Small Talk. And here's a little taster.
awesome.
And it's my body, and I'll cry if I want to. So don't make this out to be like that.
All right, so that was a little something off of Small Talk, the new album by Soda Blonde. The album's completely self-produced, which shocked me a little bit because, I always expect to hear, producers, and they did it all themselves. As lead singer Faye O'Rourke says, it's about life in our 20s. 20s were a long time ago for me. But the album looks at the insecurities, societal pressures, flaws, and even frustrations of that time. And it was actually, the whole thing's completely written by O'Rourke. What did you think, Jason?
First couple listens, I was like, okay, I was like, pretty enjoyable. And then after the third or fourth listen, I really started getting engaged by the lyrics and the music. There's a subtle funkiness to it. I think some of the bass lines are absolutely incredible. It really surprised me as I started listening more how the music kind of moves around the lyrics. And I like the way the songs are structured. The opener, Tiny Darkness, addresses the band's new direction. I actually knew Little Green Cars is a band that was on my radar from time to time with a couple albums, and they were very critically acclaimed. So I was a little surprised to find out this was a band that just came together as that band broke up. And, this has all happened so quickly for them. And yet here they are with a very clear direction of what they want to do. But the opening song, Tiny Darkness, says it takes everything to begin again. And, clearly I feel like they are pouring everything they have into this album, and it works.
Yeah,
This is one of those sleeper albums that I could see being on a lot of best of lists at the end of the year.
I think so too. I was surprised, really surprised by them. And I'm sorry, I'm keep flipping my notes around because I'm written on 15 different pages, of course. They reminded me so much of ABBA.
Mm.
I mean, so much. And what's weird about that is, I play clarinet and I play in an orchestra, and we just finished doing a little concert. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and we played like an ABBA medley of all of the. It wasn't even their greatest hits, honestly. There were songs on there I'd never heard before, but going from that to this, I was like, whoa, they really do. And I kept waiting to read that, they were heavily influenced by them. And it doesn't say it anywhere. And I'm like, but I know what I hear. The ears hear it. Tiny Darkness is the song too that reminds me the most of them. But I really like they're like very soft, very subtle, kind of floating gauzy lines of music. It's beautiful, just beautifully done. And I'm curious to see where they go from here, because it's just, I think this was like just the opening, this is what we have, this is what we're doing. I don't know why Little Green Cars, broke up, because, it was after I had read, listened to this, that I was like, gosh, well, what was the first, band like? And I would never have guessed that they were headed for a breakup, because it seemed like they were just on an upward trajectory. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go from here. I really like their mix. The production is gorgeous. I think that they could very well end up on my best list of the year.
Agreed. I think O'Rourke is a formidable songwriter, and much like Laura Dre, who we just talked about, she doesn't drape her emotions and sentiment. She's very raw. She's very honest, and I love that. They reminded me a lot of a band out in New York called Sunflower Bean, who are kind of in that same space of being in the 20s and trying to, sort things out at that point. And, figuring your shit out when you're approaching 30, for me, that's I think about that time in my life, and that's probably the time when I had the strongest emotional attachment to albums. It's just that time in your life when you really get attached to things and things mean more. So I'm always drawn back to artists that are in that phase and writing about it because I have a lot of strong memories about that. So this album really kind of rang true for me in that regard. So it finishes with a song called Choices, which to me is a strong statement of affirmation for them and the direction they're going, not just musically, but in their lives, and talks about making others nervous. And to me, if you're making others nervous in the choices you're making, you're probably doing something right for yourself. And I think Soda Blonde is making those choices for themselves, and we're better off for it because the music and the songwriting, absolutely fantastic on Small Talk.
So I just wanted to mention that our friend Ruth is the one who suggested them to us. And I just wanted to say thank you. And I really would like it if more people would be like Ruth, send us new music, send us new bands to check out. We could always use the little shove in a direction here or there. So don't shy away from doing that.
Yes, if you're out there and you're watching, we do listen. We get excited about new music, and we love it when someone watches and says, "Hey, you might want to check this out." So, best way to stay in touch with us: hit subscribe below, and then look for us on social media as well at Encores Club, and we're also online at Velvet Rebel 1984 on Twitter, and of course at Daily Duranie, the longest running daily Duran blog in the world, and a very busy fall coming up for you as Future Past comes out, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So
Yeah.
super excited. No, I am. I'm very excited. And we're going into our 11th year. And that just is mind boggling. I can't believe I've been writing blogs for 11 years. So rock on.
Going. So thank you as always for tuning into Encore's Club. Laura Dre, Soda Blonde, two amazing artists worth checking out. And we hope to see you again soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.